Hi everyone, welcome to ZM Microsoft Security. I'm Zach Moore, and today we're going to be walking through how to onboard Windows 10 devices to Defender for Endpoint by way of Intune. So first things first, Intune makes it very, very easy to onboard devices into MDE. In fact, with the proper connection, we don't even have to download an onboarding package like with some of the other methods. So I'll discuss a few of those methods. There'll be links in the comments for documentation on deploying some of those methods, but for the purposes of today, we're just going to be talking about Intune. So let's get going. All right, so starting out, we're going to be at our security.microsoft.com, our Microsoft 365 Defender portal. We're going to go to Settings. Once we go to Settings, we're going to go to Endpoints. And here we're going to make sure we have the front end, if you will, of our Intune connection turned on. Now we're going to go to Advanced Features, and we're going to scroll down until we see the Microsoft Intune connection. Make sure that's on. Alright, now we're going to go over into Intune. So we're going to go to endpoint.microsoft.com. We're going to go to Endpoint Security. And then we're going to select the Microsoft Defender for Endpoint. And it'll get you to this screen right here. And then we're just going to make sure that we have this setting turned on right here. Connect Windows devices to Microsoft Defender for Endpoint. Alright. And once we do that, we're going to hit Save. Alright, and then up here at the top, we should see connection status enabled. Alright, so once we see that, now we're ready to do our onboarding profile. So you can do it a couple ways. You could do the endpoint detection response profile over here in the endpoint security. I personally do device configuration. So the first method with a device configuration profile, we'll go to Devices, we'll go to Windows, and then we're going to go to Configuration Profiles. Next, we're going to hit Create Profile. Our platform is going to be Windows 10 and later. Our profile type, we're going to get this from a template. Alright, and then we're going to go almost down to the bottom and we're going to select the Microsoft Defender for Endpoint. And then we're going to go ahead and create. And then you can just give this whatever name you want. This is going to be Win10 MDE. Alright, and I'll hit next. So this is important here. We're going to go ahead and enable the expedite telemetry reporting frequency. This is going to make sure that if your device is in a risky state, that the telemetry is going to report more frequently. So that means if your device is risky and you're trying to remediate something or you're investigating, this is going to report more frequently. That way you know if what you're doing is helping out the situation. And then the sample sharing for all files, the verbiage here is kind of confusing. I leave this as not configured. Feel free to, if someone watching wants to go ahead and go into further detail on the proper configuration here, feel free, because the verbiage is kind of confusing to me. So I leave this not configured. We do want to share samples. That way it helps out with threat intelligence. So this is actually something that I want to enable, so I leave it not configured. So yeah, I do not want to block this. So I'm going to go ahead and hit next. Notice we haven't had to do anything and say, tell it if we want to deploy a package or anything like that. This Intune connection between MDE, the one we have made sure was set up here, and the Intune connection here is going to ensure that we don't have to do any of that. So that makes life a lot easier when it comes to deploying Defender for Endpoint. So after we have our configuration settings, we told it what we want to deploy, we're going to assign this. So, if you're doing this for a pilot, this is where you want to go ahead and throw a couple of devices into a test group and assign it that way. If you're wanting to do a staged rollout, if you're happy with Defender, you want to go with Defender, you're ready to roll this out. This is where you're going to want to kind of break your groups up. So for me, I'll go ahead and hit add groups. I have a couple groups here. All right, and we'll just do MDM computers. All right. For this particular policy, applicability rules aren't in play here, so I'm going to skip this. I'm going to go next, and then I'm going to create. All right. So that is all there is to onboarding via Intune for Defender for Endpoint. So once we give it a few minutes, we'll come back, we go to device inventory, and we should start seeing devices pop up in our device inventory with the onboarding status of onboarded. So here's a couple machines here. You'll notice there's some can be onboarded, some other stuff that shows up here. We'll hop into those and into greater detail in later videos. But yeah, that's all there is to onboarding with Intune. If I want to see some of the other ways, I can come in here to my settings and then my endpoints, and then get down here to onboarding. Right, so here's where we're going to tell it, what operating system we're working with, whether it be Windows 10 and 11, 7 and 8, Server 8, 12, 16, Server 19, 22, Mac, Linux, Server, iOS, Android. So we have multiple options whenever it comes to operating systems. So if I were wanting to use something other than Intune, right, if I were just wanting to test this on a single device or something like that, I could select Windows 10 and 11, go with the local script, download it, and onboard that way. You'll see there's also some other options. We could use group policy. We could use SCCM or Microsoft Endpoint Configuration Manager, current branch and later. MDM and Intune. So there's our option there. If you're wanting to use a supported mobile device management solution that is not Intune. And then we can use VDI onboarding scripts for non-persistent devices. So we have that option as well. If you're in a VDI environment for non-persistent devices, we have a specific onboarding package for that. Just a note, persistent devices, as far as VDIs go, those are onboarded with the regular method that we would a Windows 10 machine. So however you're managing those devices, that's that would be the method we would use to push out MDE to those. All right, well, so that's gonna wrap up our first video here on onboarding devices. Be on the lookout for more videos. We're gonna start a kind of beginning with Defender for Endpoint series where I'll go through talking about some of the best practice configurations, some of the special features, some of the advanced features that we can utilize as far as a day-to-day basis or an investigation. So stay tuned for those. Those will be coming soon. I hope you enjoy this. Hope this was helpful. And I will talk to everyone next time in our next video.